The God That Crawls involves the mystery of what exactly lies in the catacombs beneath an ancient church. How far will the curiosity of your players take their characters before it is too late? The God That Crawls in some way showcases the follies of playtesting a well-constructed adventure. Rules need playtesting to make sure they work as intended without odd, un, uh, unintended effects. But a good adventure should be playtest proof, as the possibilities should be so endless that they can't all be conceived, let alone played, and the idea that things didn't go as planned, so things need to be tweaked to get things back according to plan, is so antithetical to the very point of role-playing as to be a farce. Sure, they need playing just to make sure core assumptions don't fall apart in the face of playtest involvement. But beyond that, anyway, the intention of this adventure is that the god is so overwhelmingly powerful that the player characters cannot successfully fight it. In playtest, the players figured out how to eliminate it. I didn't change anything before going to print, because if players could figure out how to break the adventure like that, then they should be able to reap all the rewards for doing so. It's called good play, and it shouldn't be corrected against. James Edward Rage IV. Hello, this is your RPG Archivist, and spoilers! This is take 3 of my review of the God That Crawls. But you don't want to know about my problems, so I'm going to skip on to the review itself. We are in April, and April 2020 is the month of fire. What the fire is, because we're looking at the Fire Anthology for Lamentations of the Flame Princess. And right now, we are looking at, of course, as I have mentioned twice already, the God That Crawls. And here it is. Starts with an author's note, part of the first. Part the first I really like. It talks about how a typical dungeon crawl usually goes. Yeah, they're doing their little dungeon crawl, and they're exploring room to room, being super slow, super cautious, making sure not to miss any little detail. Taking short rests, sometimes even taking long rests. Well, this adventure wants to turn that on its ear. And that's a good thing. Yeah, this is definitely an original idea I have not come across before. And we'll get to that in a minute. Part the second, it's mostly just talking about how the fluff of the adventure is helps get the game master in the mood, in the right mindset for what he's about to run. And then we get into the setup. The setup is really simple. You got a church in the middle of nowhere. More specifically, a church in a village in England during the 1600s. Yes, this is the second Lamentations of the Flame Princess adventure where you are in the 1600s. Well, actually, no, this is the third that I've come across. The other two being the Punchline and No Rest for the Wicked, which I did fairly recently. Both of them, actually. And don't let that stop you from putting that in your typical Lamentations of the Flame Princess fantasy game. I mean, it doesn't have to be England in the 1600s. It can be in your own fantasy world that you have yourself created. It's not that hard to convert. So, this goes into the details about what we're looking at. You might have noticed something. My camera's not wiggling around so much. I bought a stand for it. Tell me in the comments if you like this. I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. Now we get into map keys. Oh, here's a little something your players might run into. Permits. There's a stack of permits in a box somewhere in the adventure, and anybody that knows a little anything about history will notice some curiosities, so to speak. And then we get into the dungeon. Look at that. Oh, yeah. That's just part of it. This has 3 mapped levels. Apparently there had been another 3, but they have collapsed. Who knows what happened to them. But you might want to notice that all this here in the middle does not connect on this level to all this on the outside. This is a genuine labyrinth. It doesn't just go from side to side. It goes up and down by depth as well. And we continue. This is important. There's a little symbol that your players are going to find throughout the entire dungeon. And, you know what? I'm just going to go straight to this part. This is an interesting part. At least I think it's an interesting part. Yeah, let me get a bookmark for that. Now, the anthology provided me with this. Pretty sweet, huh? Yeah, that is a big map. That was some good forethought on their part, because yeah, you got the black and white maps, but boy howdy is this color map so much more readable. And if you're wondering what the back end looks like, nice. But I wanted to draw your attention to this part on this map. Yeah, spoilers. This is where your players are going to enter. Right here in the middle. But there's a spot over here that's another possible entrance. If your players are lucky, it's a possible exit as well. And in this room right here, you see this little blue mark? That's where all these little treasure spots are located. Aha! And they're each marked with that symbol I showed you a little bit earlier. Now this particular room has the symbol, and there's described as having a skeletal hand stuck in the wall. That's to draw the player's attention, and that's to show the players, hey, there's treasure here. You might want to check it out. Now, here's the thing. The author himself has stated that he put that there on purpose so that he could draw the player's attention and go, hey, there's treasure, and get them looking for these little spots throughout the dungeon. It's a trap! Something in my throat, guys. Now, if I were you as a game master, instead of having it set here, make it the very first one of these that the players come across. Yeah. That way, they'll know early that that symbol means treasure. This whole area, it's a sort of a reliquary. It's got treasure in it. It's got silver, copper. It also has some potions, some scrolls. They're all randomly generated, by the way. If I were you, if you come up with a scroll, go ahead and generate the scrolls pre-game. Maybe do the treasures themselves ahead of time. That way you could know immediately what's behind each one of these. Because since they're randomly generated, it could be, well, the next one they find has this, and the next one they find has this, and the next one they find has this, etc., etc. Which is a good idea. So, why is this a bad thing? I mean, isn't treasure always a good thing? Yeah, especially in Lamentations of the Flame Princess. Treasure is a very big deal. Even though it's all silver, mostly. Well, there is a monster roaming the halls, because of course there is. But what makes this unique is there is a monster roaming the halls. It is an unkillable beast. Yeah, this thing, I'm going to put this away. This thing likes to creep around chasing people. It is effectively unkillable. Apparently it is defeatable somehow. I can't see how. I've read the whole book. I finally came across one thing that looked like it might work, and then I read further, and no, it just makes the monster tougher. It's like, oh, well, that's not good. It's a fairly slow beast, but it keeps getting up. This is Jason Voorhees with a machete type of monster. I get knocked down, and I get up again. I skipped a page. Yeah, there's another one. Got the little chasm here. Yeah, you get, if your players are lucky or perhaps unlucky enough to find this area, there's a lot of loot to be found, a lot of magical stuff. And whew, the magic here is very interesting. Some of it you want, some of it you don't. None of it's perfect. There's even a book you could find. But you got to put the thing together in order to get all the... You put the thing together to get the spells that are unique. They're not in the core rule book here. No, they're not in the core rule book. But they are in this book. So in order to find these cool new spells, you got to put this book together. And it's not all in this adventure. No, it's scattered throughout the world, wherever the Game Master wants to put it. Personally, I'd put a page or two in the Deathfrost Doom adventure. That's the sort of thing the Duve and Coup would have their hands on. Here is the random treasure generator. A little information about the book. You know, there's even an artifact in here that could potentially destroy the world. Yeah. So, take that 5th edition with your world-ending potential adventure paths. So they got them here too. So what do I think? Yeah! I like the god that crawls. I like that it turns everything on its ear. I like that it's deadly. Your players might not realize this. You could convert this to any OSR fantasy. You can do it for 5th edition, but be forewarned, if you don't beef up your monster, there's a possibility that the players will be, oh look, here he comes again. How many times we got to curb stomp this thing before it gets the message? Or who knows, they may curb stomp the thing and then walk off and think it's another one. I don't know. But yeah, unkillable doesn't mean not undefeatable. So yeah, there you have it. I think that's about it. I can't think of anything else. Oh! Yeah, there is one other thing. I keep talking about how you can convert these to other fantasy systems like 5th edition and Dungeon Crawl Classics, etc., etc. But I was reading The God That Crawls, and something hit me, and I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. What if... Hang on, let me get the art piece. There's an art piece in here that's really nice. What if instead of England in the 1600s, you put it in England or perhaps even America in the 1920s, just after the Great War? I don't think it would be that difficult to convert the God that crawls into Call of Cthulhu. I'm serious. This would make a great Call of Cthulhu scenario. Yeah, have at it, Call of Cthulhu fans. And yeah, now that's it. Now I'm done. Alright. So, tell me in the comments, do you like this stationary style that I may or may not be working with from now on? It's going to take me some getting used to, I'll be honest. I don't know, just give me some feedback. This has been your RPG Archivist, and see ya! Ah, you're still here. Good. Always forget to do this sort of thing during my video. As you guys may know, I am seeking monetization, that elusive quest for YouTubers, and so I'm going to do the whole like and subscribe deal. Of course, I can't show the subscribe button because I'm on my own thing, but you get the idea. There is something you might want to be interested in, however. I'm going to go to my channel real quick. Boom. I have added something you might be interested in. I have 3 playlists. I've got the odds and ends playlist, I've got the archive playlist, and I now have Lamentations of the Flame Princess playlist. So if you want to watch all my Lamentations of the Flame Princess videos back to back, by all means, check this playlist out. But if your interests are more broad, you go to the archive playlist, do the same thing, and you'll still get the Lamentations of the Flame Princess content in the archive playlist. Thought you guys might want to know. And once again, RPG Archivist, I am out.